are two things I absolutely loved doing as a kid: playing video games and watching cartoons. If I wasn't spending my Saturdays or after school hours playing Donkey Kong Country, I was watching Ed, Edd n Eddy. Video games and cartoons defined me as a kid, and to be honest, even as an adult. I also loved video games based off of cartoons, like Nicktoons Unite. And, for the topic of today's video, cartoons that would reference video games. They always manage to bring a smile to my face, no matter how small the reference may be. It was the Mega Powers, two worlds colliding of my favorite things. So I'm going to show some love to my top 6 video game episodes in cartoons. Futurama was always one of those cartoons that I really wanted to get into, but never really could. Fry was relatable, Bender was hilarious, and Zoidberg had It had a really long run with many awesome and memorable episodes, one of them being the Anthology of Interest 2. In this episode, Professor Farnsworth invents a what-if machine, where you could ask this magical TV any question, and it would show you the outcome. That's quite the invention.
I'm good at video games and bad at everything else. That's why I wish life were more like a video game.
Can you put that in the form of a question?
What if that thing I said?
So in this reality, President Nixon signs a peace treaty with Ambassador Kong of the planet Nintendo 64. Already off to a perfect start.
I know that monkey. His name is Donkey.
Monkeys aren't donkeys. Quit messing with my head.
However, not everyone is happy with this peace treaty, including Italy.
War has rolled onto our laps and ruined our white pants of peace.
It does, of course, turn out to be a trap for world domination. Fry, being the only one self-aware of what these video games even are, has the faith that he can save the world. So the gang heads to a military base where they meet up with Colonel Pac-Man.
Waka 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 waka. Mmm, delicious. Just like stale marshmallows.
But there's not much time. The invasion has begun, and the only way to combat them is to play Space Invaders.
Alright, it's Saturday night. I have no date, a 2-liter bottle of Shasta, and my all-rush mixtape. Let's rock.
It's a really fun scene, and every gamer's dream, to be the hero and save the world with their video game skills. You really do root for Fry. He of course loses because his Space Invader strategy was pretty weak.
Instead of shooting where I was, you should have shot at where I was going to be.
So the world gets taken over, but it's not real, so nothing to worry about. But we do get this gem. Relatable. Whoa! Regular Show, a Cartoon Network gem that actually managed to get me back into the network after years of
Destroy! Build! Destroy!
Ugh. Anyway, let's talk about the good. Regular Show, episode 19 of season 3, Video Game Wizards.
Get ready, dude. This is the final fight.
Okay, I got it.
Our heroes, Mordecai and Rigby, are doing what they do best: playing video games and watching TV. When all of a sudden they see a commercial for the Game Inferno tournament at their local mall. And the grand prize for winning?
It's the Maximum Glove.
The Maximum Glove, which bears a strong resemblance to the... moving on. The drama of this episode comes from Mordecai not wanting Rigby as his partner in the tournament because he feels like he isn't good enough at games and tries to replace him with Skips.
I don't want to be late for the Video Game Inferno tournament.
Yeah, you know, the, "Hey Mordecai, I guess I'll partner with you."
I was thinking about going over some strategy before the tournament.
I can personally relate to this episode a lot because I've always been the Rigby in this situation. Whenever there's been any kind of video game tournament that my friends have been into, like Call of Duty and whatnot, I've never been high on the list of possible teammates.
Rigby, I picked Skips because you're horrible at video games.
Fine.
The episode has a nice wrap-up. Mordecai and Rigby fight over this petty situation and come to the realization that their friendship is what matters most, more so than any kind of tournament or prize.
Rigby, wait!
Why aren't you inside playing?
I need my teammate. The one I should have asked in the first place.
Huh?
I want that glove, but I want my friend back more.
However, just like with every regular show episode, the last few minutes are a crazy, paranormal, otherworldly adventure.
As a reward, I will grant you maximum gaming power.
Also, a video game tournament that involves a road trip, a crazy host, and the Power Glove? Oh gosh, this is just a remake of The Wizard!
Get it, Jimmy! Go, go, go!
Yep, that was me, and my uber-talented friend James covering the King of the Hill theme. Why? For this entry, Grand Theft Arlen.
Bobby, when the president asks you to take a test, you take the test.
Now, Hank Hill is inherently, like, the funniest character ever.
Bobby, I told you no video games at the table.
Putting him in any situation and hearing him go, "Gosh dang it, Bobby," always makes me laugh.
See, that's the type of... I'm gonna kick your ass.
In this episode, Hank discovers the glory of Grand Theft Auto.
Oh my god, you just punched that motorist.
At first, Hank is hesitant, but eventually becomes addicted, dumping hours and hours into the game, neglecting his family and work.
You did it!
Hey, maybe this game doesn't have to be about the mayhem.
I honestly don't have much to say about this one. All of the comedy and hilariousness comes from seeing how Hank and friends react to video games.
God, I just stabbed a parking attendant. Where's the button to turn myself in?
Again, this is a super relatable episode. Who can't relate to discovering a new game and quickly falling in love with it, to the point where you maybe start to neglect responsibilities? But who cares? You're too busy having fun.
I didn't realize killing a man with my bare thumbs would change me so much.
I highly recommend watching this episode. Like I said earlier, Hank Hill is just too funny, and I'd do anything to have a Hank Hill Let's Play.
Go get your Game Boy.
Dad, nice try.
Cartoon Network has really been on a roll the past few years, pumping out classic after classic. And a show you can add to that list is Steven Universe.
Time to comb the beach for quarters with my metal mutt!
With the episode Arcade Mania. Again, we have another really relatable episode. After a successful mission, Steven takes the gang to an arcade here on Earth to celebrate, where of course, them being intergalactic warriors not from Earth, are baffled and confused at the sight of these video games.
Just punch and you'll be fine.
Come on, jump!
I did it.
I really like this episode because it's pretty much the situation we all found ourselves in when trying to introduce our favorite games to someone who doesn't really get video games.
You're horrible!
Stop saying that.
You're having fun?
Why am I doing so badly?
Everyone, however, does eventually find some joy in playing the games. I think that has a lot to do with Steven's undying enthusiasm and joy. Seeing someone act so passionately towards their hobbies really can start a little fire in your heart, where you want to experience it with them and hopefully feel that same happiness.
What are you doing?
I'm a winner airplane.
I don't know, Steven Universe just seems to really know how to hit the heartstrings.
Okay.
Good job, Steven. You stopped the foot.
Also, Garnet finds a rhythm game titled Meat Beat Mania.
Meat Beat Mania! There's no violence in this game.
Oh, okay. And ends up becoming addicted to the game, similar to Hank Hill. At first I thought, ridiculous! No one could get addicted to a rhythm game. But then I played Project Diva. And how wrong I was. Okay, enough of that. So, South Park.
This is for all the times I got grounded.
Definitely not a show meant for the youth, but I like it. This includes one of the most famous South Park episodes, Make Love, Not Warcraft.
Okay, I'm back. Dude, we've been waiting forever. Well, I'm sorry I had to take a dump.
In this episode, the gang discover the joy of online RPGs in World of Warcraft.
Alright, sorry guys. So where to now? See where I am? It's this way.
The reason this episode is so fondly remembered is because it actually takes place in the game. South Park teamed up with Blizzard to make the machinima utilizing the in-game graphics for most of the episode. And there's actually a really engaging plot. Cartman encounters a high-level griefer who's constantly killing him, so he rallies his classmates together to train and defeat the evil.
Prepare to charge! Scroll over him with your mouse cursors! And right-click!
The evil being some generic overweight nerd. Now, despite the episode clearly just being about a video game with little stakes, the boys portray the situation as the most important thing in the world. They need to work together and train to become stronger, to defeat this one true evil.
Do you know how many we would have to kill to get up 30 levels?
Yes. 65,340,285.
When Cartman and the gang are playing in the basement and getting so worked up, a part of me really got worked up, because this is such a familiar situation. Even Stan's dad gets in on the fun.
Got to sign in?
Again, this is extremely relatable, being so engulfed in a video game with my friends that, in that moment, is the most important thing going on, while the rest of the world doesn't see what the big deal is.
Kyle, go ahead and cast Arcane Brilliance to raise our intelligence. Hang on, I'm chaining my fire spells for max range.
Nice. Stan, what enchantment does your Cloak of the Tiger have?
Plus 15 agility.
Even if you're not a fan of South Park, but you are someone who plays online RPGs with people, or video games in general with people, I definitely recommend checking out this episode.
I can't believe it's all over. What do we do now?
Now we can finally play the game.
I love cartoons, I love Gumball, I love JRPGs, and I love bootlegs. If only there was a... Hold on, wait.
You got me a game! Child? Made in Chainor?
Oh my gosh!
Did you buy it from the back of that van?
The amazing world of Gumball never disappoints. In this episode, The Console, Gumball's dad gives him a bootlegged Game Boy.
JRPG titles never make sense. They're just random words thrown together.
That, of course, by cartoon logic, magically transports him into the Final Fantasy knockoff world of Inverted Paradox.
Sorry, I forgot your name. Please enter name? I've trapped us inside a video game.
And immediately, all RPG tropes from Pokemon, Final Fantasy, you name it, come into play in the most hilarious, self-aware ways.
Please, my butt. Tell me what is going on.
This episode constantly puts a smile on my face. Gumball, or my butt, Darwin, and Anais traveling to town and encountering generic RPG problems, and Gumball attempting to use logic to solve them is so charming.
Can my butt just use common sense and walk around it?
My butt uses sarcasm. It is ineffective.
Then there's this joke.
A leaf monster would be susceptible to fire attacks. Yes, I think most things are susceptible to fire attacks.
This episode just gets everything right. Everything from the pixel art style, to the flashy special attacks, the HUD, the capitalization of important words so the player doesn't miss it.
Nah, that's how it works in RPGs. Whatever you find, you take. I don't know. There was no Buddha playing.
For me personally, this is the best video game episode in a cartoon, because JRPGs are my favorite genre of game. I love the Tales series after all, and it's a genre that doesn't get parodied too often in the mainstream. So seeing Gumball perfectly parody its tropes and mainstays is so awesome.
Yeah, well, you did reject the alternative outfit. Yeah, I don't think that was age appropriate.
Gumball probably has the most clever writing in modern cartoon history, appealing to both kids, teenagers, and adults alike.
Wait, don't you kind of want to hear that awesome battle music one last time?
And after seeing this episode, I really want some kind of Gumball-themed JRPG. I would play the heck out of that! And I would 100% it.
Congratulations, you completed the game at 89%. Yay! What do you mean 89%? Do you want to start a new game?